Next flight, Flight 5. All right, Case 5 in Episode 8 is your favorite and mine. Maybe not. Barry Morphew. So, I've said before, it's hard for me. I don't believe anybody is non-biased because we all have the way we see the world, and we all have motivations and feelings and perspectives about things that make it difficult for us to look at other people and give them the benefit of the doubt. And I would say, as a mother, as a wife, as a mouthy blonde lady, I have a lot of feelings about a man who appears to be domineering and taking advantage of a wife who was of very sweet nature and who finally seemed to be stepping out of his shadow and basically saying, I deserve more in life. That's just my opinion. So if you're not familiar, the Barry Morphew case has to do with his missing, presumed murdered wife, Suzanne Morphew, who was last seen May 9th of 2020 and was reported missing late May 10th on Mother's Day. Again, let me just refer you to, if you're interested in this case and would like deep dives, please go watch Linda on the YouTube channel It's a Crime. She does a great deep dive and has lots of interesting theories, and she sees patterns, which, by the way, her research is very good. Very deep dives, very detailed. A lot of her theories, and she'll say they're just theories. She's a woman in Canada. Her husband's an EMT, but I don't know what her career was before having kids, but I will just tell you she should be in law enforcement because she really has a way of putting the pieces together that have turned out to be accurate in many of these cases. But in this Barry Morphew case, I'm just telling you, Linda on It's a Crime, you want to go check out her playlist on Barry Morphew to understand this whole case. It is a circumstantial case. Barry Morphew also, although I think he was having some financial issues in 2020, it seems like as soon as his wife was declared dead, which he declared her dead, he filed paperwork as soon as he could and legally declared her dead so he could sell all of her holdings, because they held property together. And she also had inherited like $250,000 from her mother. He could get that too if she was declared dead because he was her surviving spouse. It's a circumstantial case is what this all comes down to. So there's been some not strange. Barry had money then afterwards. Barry was not arrested until a year after his wife went missing. And he was arrested seemingly as he was, for all intent purposes, from what everybody could see. He had sold his house. He was packing up. His daughter was graduating from the area. It looked like he was moving. And so that seems to have pressured and propelled a arrest maybe before then it would be made. And Linda Stanley, the DA, as well as her staff, wrote this. It was a large document, which was the arrest warrant. And at first it was sealed. And mostly we would call it circumstantial evidence, especially because it's no body homicide. But logically, when we look at everything that we know, we have a woman who texted she wanted to be divorced. She said, let's be civil. she was texting a boyfriend. He came home and she wasn't seen after that. And he went to a job that he was supposed to go on Monday. Instead he went Sunday, a day early, a holiday, which he couldn't work anyways. He said strange things. There's strange movements on his truck. There's all of this circumstantial evidence, which points to, as well as, they lived in the middle of nowhere. It wasn't a high crime area. They didn't live in an urban area or even near an urban area. They lived in the middle of nowhere in a huge mansion. It's not like it would be easy to go, she wasn't just off a busy street. She wasn't in an apartment in New York City where if you left the door open by accident, a transient might somehow get into. I mean, by all normal logic, one would say she wanted a divorce. She said, I want to leave you. He also texted back he was going to kill himself. He needed her for the money because she had money with her, and that would make him even, it's hard to split up things, right? Everybody says, well, what would she do without me because she doesn't even work? Well, in many states, she gets half of what you own, and also, she had some other private things that would have been just her, like inheritance, I think, is how that would have worked out. So she was not without means. I have feelings, right? We all know this. We can see. All right, so what happened this week was there was a filing, a summary filing, I guess, by the judge. And it was 20-some pages. And what's very interesting is depending on whose perspective you listen to, if it's a defense attorney like Scott Reich, hi Scott, or if it's somebody who, like myself, is more like pro Suzanne and thinks this is obviously whatever. Depending on your perspective, you're going to see this differently. So we've been hearing, because Lauren Scharf is on Twitter. She also has a channel. She is a reporter for the Fox station in Chaffee County in that area. She is a great follow. She was tweeting about and then did a video about what was said in court, what was presented, and what the judge said too about, there was March 30th ruling, and then this is this April, I think it was April 8th, it was on Friday, ruling about these preliminary, what do they call them? Emily D. Baker calls them motions in lemonade, but it's in limine, which means before the start of the trial. And so this is like, I believe, the conclusion, although there was a report reported yesterday on Monday the 11th that said something as if the prosecution was still asking the judge to rethink some of what he made. But even though they published that, they said it was filed Monday and it was published online, at least the 11th. But if you looked at the actual filing by Linda Stanley, it was signed and it was electronically provided to all the people by April 1st. So I'm pretty sure that Judge Lama's ruling on Friday, April 8th was the answer to this. So again, if you listen to Scott Reich, he's like, oh, this disseminates the whole prosecution's case. They're not going to be able, all these people are out. And there's been all these reports of 11 out of 16 witnesses can't be, expert witnesses can't testify. So I read, now I'm not a lawyer, not any type of law talking person in Colorado or any place else. But the order seemed to say, so the people that can speak are all of the detectives, the agents, but they can speak as lay people, not as experts, which I guess inhibits a little bit. They can't, I don't know what that means, is they can't be experts, but they can be witnesses as lay people. I'm not sure. But two of the people that are important in this are the people that had to do with the telematics of the truck, and what was the other one? Let's see. The people who are allowed to speak are the telematics person and a person who does the forensic computer data analysis. The people who I think are not allowed to speak, but they said they could, it did say they could speak in rebuttal, were the person who was the cell phone tracking data. Remember running all around the house with, his phone pinged all around the house, and they said it was, he said he was shooting chipmunks, 83 chipmunks. Now, they tried to get the cell phone data thrown out because they said it's not very reliable there. But again, so then why did he say that, right? That's the problem. He had an excuse for something that even if you say that didn't happen, that doesn't explain his weird excuse. So why didn't he just say I wasn't in the house? So that person can't be a witness as an expert, but I don't know if that means the cell phone data is out, and that is what I don't understand. If the expert can't talk about it, does that mean the actual material is out? And the expert for the CODIS DNA, she is not allowed to be an expert witness. They said they could talk on rebuttal. So if the defense tries to say, like, this isn't true, they could bring these people up to say, well, actually, this is what we think about that. So I'm not sure how much of a win this was, because the telematics truck guy can talk, and so can the person about the computer forensics text, like what he was looking up, which, again, go watch Linda's channel. He was looking up things about, like, young singles in Salida, like dirty talk. I don't know what they actually were, but he made some interesting searches, let's just say that. So the reason the judge said that these people were limited in what they could say had to do with the fact that the prosecution handed over discovery, like everything they had. They didn't give them everything, and they were asked to give more. And it seems to me, again, I'm a layperson, but it appears as if we have, Salida, Chaffee County is in this beautiful area, but it is, rural. They're not Chicago. They're not Denver. They're not a big city. They don't have tons of homicide investigations a year. That makes a difference, in my opinion. So it seems to me like they have like voluminous amounts of data. They've got the FBI involved, well, the CBI. I think they had the FBI too. They've got the local people, the sheriff. I mean, they're trying to gather all this stuff, write it up, analyze it, and then they're supposed to decide what to give to the defense. The answer probably is give them every single thing no matter what. But like some of these things, they had meetings and they didn't write down, they met, and there's the person, Carolyn Rogers, I guess, took the notes. Yes, they met this time, but they didn't write down what they said. In education, I mean, I've always been very cognizant of document. Like, save things, record things, make notes, keep everything for 7 years. Like, I just got used to that. Probably because I always had this interest in law talking stuff. I've always been interested in crimes and murders, and the more you hear about any of this stuff, in any profession, documentation is key to protecting yourself as well as to proving any of your points that you're going to make to anybody else. So I am not sure this filing is as detrimental to the case as not, because I believe it was reported there's still 178 witnesses and all these. I mean, there's still enough out there. And maybe that explains why when Barry Morphew and his lawyers left court last time, they weren't as happy looking as one would expect if they said they threw out all these experts. So does it make it more difficult? Yes. Does it change the facts of the matter? No. The one kooky thing I was going to tell you about this case, I'll just end this little flight with a little sip, and a little juicy cuckoo for coconuts. Theory. All right. There was a body on March 13th found between Salida and Broomsfield. Now, the body was skeletonized. It was in a weird, like off Route 6. It was hard to get to. It has been reported as being a male skeleton. So that would say, no, this couldn't be it. And plus the telematics, one would think it would show if Barry went that way instead of the route he described, which is really kind of a screwy route, like exactly opposite that way, and not the way that Google takes you to get there fastest from going to Salida to Broomfield. So, I mean, when I first read it, I was like, oh my God, they found Suzanne. Now, they're claiming it's a male. And you can tell from bones, if you've seen any archaeological shows, they can tell right away from the pelvic bone if it's a man or woman and things about the head. And she was tiny. Of course, I do believe that police are allowed to lie to the public and other people. So I don't know if it's probably nothing. And I would just like it to be something. Because if you, again, listen to Linda at It's a Crime, I think Barry Morphew used his backhoe. I think he damaged the blade by hitting rock because he's not used to digging in Colorado. He was going way down, and I think she's somewhere on his property or near the edge of that property, and that's why he won't leave from the area. So, yeah, Linda had a thing about Barry burying things. Again, so that's a cuckoo for coconuts theory. Do with it what you will. I'm still, though, Googling all the time about if that skeleton was identified. Just because of the area, and it was a year-old skeleton, and it's directly from Salida to Broomfield. But I don't think so. But anyway, it's just again, you can see why it's easy to see things that aren't there when you want them to be there. And that's why I'm not a detective. All right, this flight is over. We're landing this one. We will find out more. Barry Morphew is going to trial. They're getting the jury right now. The other thing I wondered, and I did look it up, there's somebody, I guess, in New Orleans who gets in trouble for doing this more than once. But I think because of the trouble with the discovery wasn't that they purposely did anything. They're basically sloppy. There's too much of it. They're not organized enough. The management was, it just seems like it was overwhelming for this little town to be doing this. I would drop the charges and then immediately refile them. That's just me. But if Linda Standley is listening, I don't know, but start again. Fix those little discovery problems. Give them everything up front. There's nothing to lose now. And then start fresh. If you can do that. I don't know if you can do that, but I don't know. I'm still rooting for Suzanne. It's almost Mother's Day again. So let's hope the universe is running on time for Mr. Barry. Again, he's presumed innocent. He's got great lawyers from Denver, crack team who knows what to do, which is attack the evidence, right? Attack the investigators. And that's what they've done a great job doing. So is it going to be enough? I don't know. Or is the universe going to strike back? Again, landing this flight. We're going to go on to the next flight. Hold on 1 second. Hi. If you liked this flight of episode 8's True Crime Grapevine, please put something in the comments, like, subscribe, hit the notification buttons. You know how to do all the YouTubey things, and I will see you with new flights next Tuesday. Bye.